Oh yes, government is ensuring that we all can smile in Jamaica. One way the state is doing that is through local government reform, which seeks to empower communities through improved governance. And as we observe November's Local Government and Community Development Month, we encourage you to be a part of the reform process. Find out how by visiting localgovjamaica.gov.jm. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine with me, Adrian Atkinson, as your host. We get the show on the road with a word of advice followed by the news.
Householders, business people, school administrators, be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET.
Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Monday, November 9. The cabinet changes announced by Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller last Friday took effect today. The Minister of Health is now Harris Daly. He takes over from Dr. Fenton Ferguson, who now heads the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Derek Kelly, who was in charge of both the Labour and Agriculture ministries, will continue in his post as Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries. In a broadcast to the nation Sunday night, the Prime Minister said the new health minister had been instructed to work quickly to correct the shortcomings in the health sector.
He has served as health minister before, and he knows the system very well. He has assured me that his first order of business will be to strengthen the system of healthcare delivery to eliminate the deaths of babies or adults from causes such as bacterial outbreaks.
Mr. Simpson Miller also directed Minister Daly, who was formerly in the Finance Ministry, to continue giving oversight to the remaining elements of the public sector wage negotiations. Minister Ferguson will give focus to the government's priority of labour market reforms, while Minister Kelly will continue to anchor the expansion of the agriculture sector. While addressing another function on Friday, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller reiterated her government's zero-tolerance approach to the abuse of children.
My government pledges to uphold the rights of our children and to punish severely those who harm or abuse them.
Mr. Simpson Miller was addressing the 10th anniversary of the Caribbean Child Research Conference on Friday. She urged everyone to care and protect children.
I call on all parents, teachers, pastors, community leaders, policymakers, every adult in the society to take care of the nation's children. Do not abuse them. Do not neglect them. We have a moral and ethical responsibility to take good care of them.
106 residents of St. Elizabeth and adjoining parishes are now fully registered land title holders following a lamp and geoland ceremony last Wednesday. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller was on hand to issue the titles and said providing land for landless Jamaicans was a major priority for her administration. She added that she was pleased with the number of senior citizens and other vulnerable applicants now in receipt of land titles as a result of a $90 million grant from the Development Bank of Jamaica.
This provides funding to help persons who have applied to LAMP and have made some payments but are unable to make the remainder. I want them to complete that process.
So far, 4,590 new titles and 2,746 certificates of title have been regularized. Youth and Culture Minister Lisa Hanna has cautioned the students about their use of social media, which she warns can compromise their safety.
Many of you on the road, at home, become so disconnected, and our hashtag for this youth month is I am connected. But the truth is you have disconnected your lives from so many other things that you fail to realize that it becomes a security hazard.
The minister was speaking on Friday during a youth forum held at the St. Andrew Parish Church Hall in Kingston. She outlined 4 tips to increase social media safety.
1. Turn off the mode on your phone that gives your whereabouts. Do not at home stand up in front of your car or your parents' car or someone else's car and show the license plate number. Do not post, for those of us who have children, don't post the school that they go to. Also, for those of you, sometimes change up your route.
Jamaica has made good on a promise to help hurricane-ravaged Dominica by shipping off $50 million worth of bridge infrastructure and material. The items, which included 2 Bailey bridges, 6 tons of steel and 18 tons of cement, were loaded onto a ship at Puerto Rio Bueno in Trelawney on Wednesday.
Jamaica is small, but we show the best in all disaster, because one day when we have our disaster, we need support from other countries.
The $50 million contribution is a partnership involving the government and private sector entities such as Tankweld. And finally, 20 households in the community of Banana Ground in central Manchester are now connected to the national grid. The project was undertaken at a cost of $4 million by the National Energy Solution. During last Friday's commissioning ceremony, Energy Minister Philip Paulwell asserted that the provision of electricity was about the development of the people. He reported that 123 communities had been connected since 2011, bringing coverage of rural areas to 97.5%.
The global average is 75%, so Jamaica is way above the global average. And we're not going to rest until, as Sister P said to me, every single nook and cranny of Jamaica has electricity.
He said the remaining 2.5% would be connected via solar energy. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament and Minister of National Security Peter Bunting said the light would add to the security of the people, especially children coming home from late classes.
It is going to improve the security for all the citizens living on the street. And I'm sure all the parents, the mothers, the fathers will feel much better that they'll have a few street lights to help them come in safely from the main.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Carrie Smith. Thank you for watching.
Guns are a significant problem in Jamaica, and that is why we have to move to do something about it. It is in this context that I am now launching a special initiative of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Get the Guns campaign. You, the public, can keep illegal guns out of your communities by using all means to inform the police as to how illegal guns are stored and moved within the communities.
Download and use the Stay Alert app from the Google Play Store. Call 119-311-811 or the nearest police station.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller gave instructions last week for a health sector audit report to be released. A Caribbean Child Research Conference and a land titling ceremony out west were also on her agenda. Get the details next.
In Jamaica House Weekly, Prime Minister reassigned some cabinet portfolios. Over 106 Jamaicans received certificates of title and...
Listen to your children. Listen to them. I beg in.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has instructed new Health Minister Horace Daly to quickly fix the sector's shortcomings.
He has served as Health Minister before, and he knows the system very well. He has assured me that his first order of business will be to strengthen the system of healthcare delivery to eliminate the deaths of babies or adults from causes such as bacterial outbreaks.
Ahead of her broadcast to the nation Sunday night, Mrs. Simpson Miller released a statement saying Minister Daly would take up office today. Minister Daly, formerly of the Ministry of Finance and Planning, replaces Dr. Fenton Ferguson, who is now assigned to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Minister Kelly, who had the Labour and Social Security portfolio as part of his dual duties, retains responsibility for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Prior to those announcements, Prime Minister Simpson Miller had discussions with the Partnership for Jamaica National Council and gave instructions for the then Health Minister to release a health sector audit he had commissioned. The report was made available Friday on the Ministry of Health's website. In the meantime, the Prime Minister told the partners that there was no attempt on the part of the government to cover up anything. She also assured them of government's commitment to working with the Council, which had consistently provided a platform for open and transparent discussions that generate understanding on national issues. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller issued over 106 land titles to residents of St. Elizabeth and adjoining parishes.
Providing land for landless Jamaicans and making it easier for Jamaicans in possession of land to acquire registered titles for those lands are major priorities that I have set for my administration. I will not be distracted from fulfilling that priority.
Wednesday's function was an initiative of the LAMP and GeoLand programs. Under LAMP, 4,590 new titles have been produced and approximately 2,746 existing certificates of title have been regularized. Prime Minister Simpson Miller took some time Friday to meet with children attending the 10th anniversary of the Caribbean Child Research Conference.
If anyone is abusing you, call the Office of the Children's Registry or the Child Development Agency or the Office of the Children's Advocate. We are committed to protecting you from those who wish to harm you, and I promise you that harsher penalties are coming for those who do.
Even as she encouraged the participants to express themselves respectfully, Mrs. Simpson Miller reminded them to also respect the rights of others. The Prime Minister was presented with a document of policy proposals from children and adults coming out of the past 9 conferences. She also received a publication of the winning essays and research papers by children, which was also launched. The conference was held from November 4 to 6 by the UWI's Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies, SOLICIS. Back at Jamaica House, the Prime Minister met with the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Luis Almagro. The Secretary General was on the island for a 2-day visit and delivered a lecture to 200 law students. He also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the University of the West Indies. The MOU is for advancing the quality and diversity of governance programs offered by the university. And that's it for this week's Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for the latest stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Children in Jamaica constitute anyone who is under the age of 18 years. And so once you have a child who is under your care and supervision, we encourage you at the Office of the Children's Advocate to always know where your children are. It doesn't mean that you have to be there with them, but you certainly know who they're with, where they're going, and the purpose for being there. This is a key component in helping to establish some rules in terms of some ground rules and helping to guide your children towards responsible and sensible choices, and also assisting you if something were to go wrong to know what is the first point of contact to assist your child. While you're not to look at everybody as a potential suspect, that you need to be very wary of adults, whether they're in positions of authority or not, that seek to want to have a very close relationship with your child. Somebody who wants to invite your child on an outing and it's just that adult and your child alone. Somebody who wants to take your child to a very special event to reward the child, perhaps for some performance that the child would have done in an extracurricular activity or for academic excellence. We encourage you to look at these situations very carefully and to determine whether or not it's an appropriate meeting or outing that this person is propositioning for your child. If you're enrolling your child in a daycare, ensure that you know something about the track record of that daycare. Ensure that the daycare has what we call an open door policy, which allows you to go in, see what's happening, observe how the workers there interact with the children, and know some of the ground rules that guide these interactions. If they're going on outings, whether it be school trips or otherwise, ensure that at some point, even if you can't go to all, you do attend some of them, so you get yourself integrated into the system and the culture of the school. For these tips, and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you're saying to my sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Are you a parent, guardian, or an adult responsible for a child? This next feature is just for you.
Everything that is in X and Y section.
Students.
What we call this section?
Teachers. Principals. They are the main players in the school environment. But there's another critical group without whom a child's academic success is highly impossible. Parents.
If you want your children to come up to something, there has to be a combination, a close relationship between the parents and the school.
The parent is the first and most important teacher in a child's life.
Many will agree to the truth of this statement. Whether through biological parents or guardians, children learn first at home from their caregivers and then express learned habits to the wider society. This is the reason it's so important for parents to actively participate in their children's education.
Many of us are not as good parents as we need to be, you know. Many of us believe that we just send the people to go to school and give them something and teacher must do the rest. It can't go that way.
When you go to school and you find out from the teacher how your child is doing, if they're weak in an area, then you can always help them better at home. So it's something that is very important. When a child sees their parent coming to school to make sure that they're doing well or to participate in an activity that they're doing, then it says to them, hey, my mom or my dad loves me, or they care about what I'm doing in school.
There are several ways in which parents can play a supportive role at their children's school.
Become a parent volunteer in the classroom, a grade volunteer, and just try to get more involved with the school community. So if there's something going on, if there's an event going on at school, then you can always volunteer in that area also.
You could also become a member of the school's sport program. Start this early and maintain the practice all the way through the various grade levels. Also, develop a relationship with your child's class teacher. His or her phone number should be stored in your contacts book, and it's important to have constant dialogue with the teacher to ensure that your child is performing at their utmost academically and emotionally.
Perhaps there's something, a weakness about your child or a strength that you'd want to communicate to your teacher. Perhaps you want that teacher to know that your child will do better at the front of the class rather than at the back, or pay a little bit more attention in this area. So you go and you communicate that to the teacher, And if throughout the term you're finding that your child is not doing well, you find out what is going on.
Some schools are using social media to keep connected with parents and students. If your child's school has a Facebook account, like their page. Several schools also produce newsletters. Subscribe to their publication. You could even contribute an article or pictures for the newsletter. And one surefire way of being involved at your child's school is by joining the Parent-Teacher Association.
We're trying to re-energize the PTA to involve the teachers more, to involve the parents, where parents can come and talk about their concerns, parental issues, not understanding what's going on right now. So no, the PTA is not just about fundraising and to voice a negative opinion about the teacher. And it's not PA, it's not just Parents Association, it's Parents Teachers Association. So we're encouraging not just parents to come out and attend the PTA, but for teachers to come out so that they can also develop that relationship with parents.
When a parent becomes involved at their child's school, rich rewards await. No doubt the child will excel academically, emotionally, and spiritually. So parents, just as you have worked hard to ensure your children get the necessary school supplies, make sure they also get your emotional support and close personal contact. Check in at your child's school periodically and keep abreast of all the happenings.
Mr. Shirley, me get the invitation from America. What?
You know a passport?
A passport is one of the most important forms.
Here at PICA, we believe in excellent customer service. So when we wanted our customers to know about us, we approached the JIS and they delivered and we got excellent value for money. And so we encourage you to go to the JIS, a one-stop shop for media services. They have print, radio, television, and so much more.
As we observe Science and Technology Month in November, we take a look at how our doctors are safeguarding our sporting sector.
Muscles, ligaments, tissues and bones, if they are active in any form of sporting activity or exercise, they are vulnerable to injuries. When this happens, sports medicine is administered, and increasingly this service is getting more high-tech. The outlook for an injured athlete is far more hopeful today than it was many years ago. Why? Because sports medicine has developed some near miraculous ways to help athletes heal and in most cases return them to the sporting arena. One area of advancement in sports medicine is arthroscopic surgery. This is where a small fiber optic scope, a flexible wired video camera, is inserted through the skin for an inside view.
This is surgery where we make very small incisions and using special equipment, a very good scope, something we can look inside the joint, very good camera, and then instruments which are very small. We can try and correct what's inside, and that could be everything from meniscal repairs to anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction to all sorts of things in the knee, the shoulder, the ankle, the wrist, the elbow, whichever joint.
These small cuts result in less trauma, swelling and scar tissue, not to mention hospitalization and rehabilitation, which have reduced significantly. Another useful tool in the assessment of injuries is the X-ray machine. This gives a photographic view of the injury before the appropriate treatment is prescribed. With most injuries, early mobilization, that is, getting the injured part moving as soon as possible, will speed up the healing process. This usually starts with gentle range of motion exercises, which brings us to the physical or hands-on approach to sports medicine, referred to as rehabilitation treatment. Special techniques are applied to observe how the joint moves in range and flexibility, as well as the function of each muscle and how they work together. It also involves a physiotherapist stretching the tendons and muscles if they are too tight. The aim, to get the injured athlete aligned, balanced, flexible, and strong enough to perform. Massage is another form of physical therapy which involves pressing or rubbing to soothe tense muscles and increase blood flow to the injured area. The treatment of athletes has increased due to more specialists entering the field. In Jamaica, a leader in that area is the University of the West Indies, which now has specialized programs to train sports doctors and physiotherapists from Jamaica and the region.
And to that extent, you will notice that there are teams which are touring the Caribbean who will preferentially have their treatment done in Jamaica, mostly at the University Hospital. And you'll also notice that a lot of the Jamaican athletes are actually getting their treatment, and athletes throughout the Caribbean are coming for their treatment in Jamaica.
Exercise is vital to our physical health, and for athletes it is fulfilling to do what they love. But more important, it is comforting to know that when an injury occurs, the technology to bring about healing is available.
That's the old way of doing things. Introducing Government of Jamaica Electronic Procurement, a speedy, transparent and accessible online method used to bid for government contracts. Contact the Ministry of Finance and Planning for more information.
And that's our show. We hope you found the program insightful. Missed aspects of today's offering? Watch it in full on our website, jis.gov.jm, or click on our YouTube page, youtube.com/watchjis. You may keep abreast of all things Jamaican by adding us on Twitter, Facebook, or downloading our new mobile app. On behalf of the entire team at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.